No matter the location, from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. If you want to join our live mailbags, you got to subscribe and you got to join us every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. All right, so the first questions coming in here, they're all super chats, and that's the easiest way to get featured. We got Chevy Silva Raider. Does Kolton Miller go back to 77? It's a good question. I hope that somebody can take number 77 and get the horrible memory off my mind. But yes, he started out as 77, and then he gave Trent Brown 77. But I'll say this. He didn't play very well in 77. He played great in 74. If I'm Kolton, I might just stick with 74. All right, Gabriel, next one coming in here. Love the show. Thank you for doing this all the time. Looking at our schedule, do you think that offensively we can score points like last season? I'm going to still say I don't know, and it's kind of a shitty answer for the simple fact of the offensive line, I still hoping can be as good as what it was last year. I understand, like, in theory, like, okay, they're excited about Andre James, they're excited about Incognito, but you're moving a lot of pieces around for an offensive line, and that scares me a lot of times. Am I hoping that a guy like Kenyon Drake can add? Sure. But you also lost Nelson Aguilar. That's going to be a huge loss. I like John Brown. I like Willie Snead. I like some of the pieces that they have. But being able to replace 895 yards, 47 catches, 8 touchdowns, that's really not that easy to do. One thing that I was worried about the Raiders doing, trying to get their defense better and then taking a hit at offense, I don't think that the offense is going to be as good as what it was last year, but I'm hoping that the defense can be a lot better and therefore win a lot more games. All right, let's go to Sam Morrison. Which cornerback do you want the Raiders to sign? So out of all the corners right now, I know we're always talking about veteran corners. But the name that the Raiders need to pick up the phone right now, and they need to call Brian Poole, who is a very, very good slot corner, one of the best slot corners in the entire league. And I'm not just saying that. Brian Poole is one of the best slot corners in the National Football League, a top 3 slot corner according to Pro Football Focus over the last 3 years, only 28 years old, and everything that the Raiders tried to do with LaMarcus Joyner, Brian Poole can actually freaking do it. He is a versatile player. I get that he's coming off a shoulder injury. He's elite in coverage. That's what we need, an elite player in coverage, and if he wants to take a 1-2 year deal, I'm okay with that. Meek Robertson could learn so much from a player like Brian Poole. So let me know here, y'all. Name a corner you want the Raiders to go out and sign. We got 975 people watching right now. Only 275 likes live. Come on, like the video. It helps us out a lot. But let me know in the comments. Name a corner you want the Raiders to go out and sign. So right now we're live on YouTube, and believe it or not, we are actually live on Facebook as well. And if you guys could do me a really, really big favor, I made a bet with my boss that we're going to be able to get some Facebook shares. And I said the number is going to be 50. He said no way in hell. So let's prove him wrong. Let's show how Raider Nation gets down. How do you share a video on Facebook? You click the share button underneath the video. It literally looks like the one that you see over there. Then you click the Facebook icon. Then you click post to Facebook. You can say whatever you want in the post to Facebook. If you want to tag me at Mitchell Renz 365, I promise you, it helps me out a lot. So if you could, seriously, share it on Facebook. All right, let's go to this next one. It's coming in here from David Gonzalez. Appreciate the super chat. What are your thoughts on Indiana safety Jamar Johnson? So I've had actually like 6 people ask me this question because in Pro Football Focus, latest Raiders mock draft, they had the Raiders taking Jamar Johnson. He's a good safety, and I don't want to take anything away from him. However, if our solution to safety is Jamar Johnson, we're going to be upset. The only way that I'm going to say, you know what, I'm okay taking Johnson in round 3. He's more of a round 4 prospect in my opinion. If that's going to be our solution, you better have gone out and got somebody like Malik Hooker. You better have gone out and got another veteran, because if you're relying on a young player like Johnson to be your main starting safety, you're going to be disappointed. And if you're just going to take somebody that late, I mean, I'd rather have Richie Grant. I'd rather have Andre Cisco. I'd rather have Nasir from Florida State. There's a lot of other players that I'd rather have. Merrick or Darius Washington. I mean, I can continue. All right, let's go to George Torres here. You think this O-line will shut out Mack again? So I think it's funny because now with the new 18-week schedule, so 17 games, the Raiders' final game is ultimately against the Chicago Bears. And am I hoping it happens? Yes, man. My fingers are crossed. Khalil, though, he attacked the Raiders the first time they went up against this team. He attacked Trent Brown, and Trent Brown actually did a very good job. It's probably one of the only times I've been very proud to say that I was rooting for Trent Brown. But if that's the scene again, I like Denzel Good a lot, but he will struggle with somebody like Khalil Mack because what Denzel does well, he's more of an interior offensive lineman. Can he fill in at right tackle? Yes, absolutely. However, he will get burnt by Khalil Mack, and it's nothing against Denzel. It's just Khalil Mack is one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. All right, let's go to Cookie Monster. What's up, my man? Mitch, if the Raiders don't re-sign Carr this season, what does that mean for him? I mean, they don't need to re-sign him. He's still got 2 years left. Like, I know a lot of people are throwing out this, like, whole contract extension thing. I'm actually one of the few people that's against the Derek Carr contract extension. Let him play out the next 2 years. The biggest reason why I like Derek Carr being the Raiders quarterback, he's making $22 million and he's making $19.9 million. That's very good numbers for a quarterback like Carr. Now, if he goes out and signs an extension, you guys have to think of this. It's going to be at least $30 million a year. If you don't want to pay Derek Carr $30 million a year, you don't want a contract extension. If he can get to the playoffs and prove that he's, winning football games, then sure, you give him the extension. Am I saying the reason why he loses so many games is on him? No, it's also on the defense. But I can't sit here after 7-8 years now and say that this guy deserves another contract extension with 0 playoff wins. I can't do that, and for that reason, I'm going to say no, don't give him the money, because if you do, that's less money than you can build on the offensive line, less money you can build towards the defense. So if you guys ever have a question here, easiest ways to do it, join the live show. So subscribe to the Raiders Report, turn on those notifications, that way you guys never miss a thing, and if there's breaking news, we go live. We also go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. There's no reason you miss any Raiders news. We got you covered here. Hit that big red button that says subscribe. Let's go to Jason Johnson here. Out of all these one-year contracts being handed out, who do you predict for extensions after the season? Well, I don't really know if it's so much of an extension. It's more of a re-sign with a one-year contract. The biggest reason, first off, why you're seeing all these one-year contracts is because the salary cap is down. Also, the Raiders are more confident throwing out a lot of guarantees because it doesn't really count so much against the cap. But if you were to ask me, out of all the players that we brought in for a one-year deal, who I think is the most likely to come back next year, I would throw out a name like a David Irving is a pretty interesting one to me. It seems like he has that connection with Rod Marinelli already on lockdown. If you want a name from like the free agent group, maybe Solomon Thomas. I mean, Solomon Thomas was really excited to be able to play with the Raiders because he was like, the defense reminds me a lot of what I did at Stanford. When I was at Stanford, I was taking basically number 3 overall. That's what he feels like he can get back to. So I'll say Solomon Thomas. All right, let's go to David Zahn. Do you think it will be easier or harder, giggity, to score this season taking the schedule into account? I mean, it's still so far away, man. You got to see what the NFL draft holds. And I always love when people like look at strength of schedule, like they look at certain things, and it changes so much, right? Like it changes so much year to year. So do I think it's going to be easier or harder to score this season? How about this? I think it's going to be a lot easier than what it was last year because considering all the crazy shit that happened in 2020, teams don't have to deal with that this year. And I think for a younger team, that is going to benefit the Raiders a lot more. More practice, more time working with your teammates, that helps a younger team out a lot. All right, let's go to 4GR We. Interesting name. What do you think our next move in free agency will be? So the next move that the Raiders make in free agency, I'm thinking either it's going to be a corner, it could be a safety. I mean, there's a lot of different routes where the Raiders could go. I've been saying for a week Malik Hooker. Maybe it's just because I want the jersey. But if I'm the Raiders, I figure out a way to go get Malik Hooker. 1 year, $2.5 million deal. You might even be able to get him a little bit cheaper. But what do you guys think here? Name a player that the Raiders should go out and sign. Let me know in the comments because we're sitting here. It's March 30th. I'm filming this live. March 30th. The Raiders have still yet to go out and get a corner. They've really yet to go out and get a safety. And the rest of Raider Nation's kind of like, all right, man. Any day now, like we're waiting for this move to happen. I'm starting to get a little bit sick and tired. I see updates come on my phone or I get updates from my guys, and it's not what I want to hear. I need a move to happen really soon. Let's go to this next one. It's coming in here from Rogers the Iceman Smith Jr. Appreciate the super. What are the odds of Jalen Richard restructuring? I'll say this. I'm starting to believe that it's like 2 Chucky heads in terms of if Jalen doesn't restructure, he's gone. He is an important aspect to this team. He is, and I know a lot of Raider fans like him. I also know the coaches absolutely love him. But paying a running back $3.5 million who last season had a career low in both carries and in receptions, that's alarming. And then they go out and spend big on Kenyon Drake. If he doesn't restructure, I do think Jalen Richard is a guy that gets kicked out. But If he doesn't, then we'll see what happens. But if I'm the Raiders, you move on. You save $3.5 million. Rogers the Iceman Smith Jr., I appreciate your question. If you guys want to get your questions on the show, easiest way to do it, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat. All right, let's go to Jara Flo. Gregory Russo Pro Day wasn't so good, Mitch. If he slips to the second round, do we get him? I'll say this. I actually think Gregory Russo does slip now to the second round. So he ran a 7.51, I believe, three cone drill, which was pretty bad. Bruce Sam goes 40 time. No. His 40 time, I believe, was like a 4.68, somewhere around that area. This was a player that I was really excited about, and when I made my video about the top players that I want the Raiders to draft, he was number one. I'm just telling y'all right now, I got a new video. It's going to be coming out on Friday. He ain't even in the top 10. So if you want to go and take a player from Miami, I'm starting to believe it's now the Jalen Phillips role. Russo's an interesting pick. The other issue is, though, I don't even think he falls to 48. So I'm going to say Greg Russo is not going to be a member of the Raiders. Let's go to Christopher Keefe. What second-year player do you think will have the biggest impact in year two? The answer that I want it to be, and I think everyone can agree with me, is Henry Ruggs, right? You drafted him 12 overall, the first wide receiver. You wanted a number one receiver for Derek Carr. If you could tell me right now Henry Ruggs does exactly what Nelson Aguilar did last year, I'm there. I'm 100% for it. The other answer that I'm going to give you is a player like Damon Arnett. He needs to definitely step up, and I know he can. Also, Brian Edwards. Those are the top three guys. I mean, those are the players that you're hoping make that biggest leap in year two. Another guy that I want to see more out of, Tanner Muse. He really struggled in training camp. Didn't really play due to his injuries, but a lot of issues around Muse, I know, from struggling to figure out the position. Played safety at Clemson. They want to try to convert him to a linebacker, a player that I thought was going to get taken in round 5. The Raiders traded up to round 3, pick 100. So those are the guys that I need to see a little bit more out of in year two. Now, obviously, we got close to, 1,000 people watching this bad boy. I can't get to every single one of y'all's comments, and if I could, I don't know, producer Sam and I would never have a day off. But how about this? If you want your questions answered, if you want to talk Raiders with me, I think I'm also going to be doing an IG Live this upcoming week, so hit me up on Instagram. It's down here below. It's Mitchell Renz 365. Let's go to Marvin Sullivan here. Would you bring back Gareon Conley? Another Gareon Conley question, back-to-back weeks. So Gareon Conley was drafted in the first round by the Raiders in 2017, I believe, out of Ohio State. He's still pretty young. He's only 25 years old. He's bounced around the National Football League. Didn't play in 2020. Definitely battled some injuries that kind of flared up and kept him out. The issue is when Gareon's been on the field, he's been an okay corner. He definitely hasn't been worth the first-round pick, but he's been an okay corner and filled in here or there pretty well for the Texans. But if you're telling me right now we can only get an okay corner with severe injury issues at this point, I'm going to respectfully just pass. I mean, if he wants to take a one-year prove-it deal, I actually don't even know if that's really what I want. I get the fact that he was drafted high, and a lot of people saw some good things out of Gareon. But there's a lot of other players I'd rather have. So I'm going to actually say no, I do not want Gareon Conley. So what do y'all think here? Who will the Raiders draft in round 1? I want you to comment below. It's funny because Conley was drafted number 17 overall. The Raiders had picked number 17 overall. So think about all the players that the Raiders could potentially get, and let me know in the comments who you think the Raiders could go out and get at pick number 17. All right, let's go to Drew. Appreciate the super. Will we have a top 15D able to close out games? Dude, we've been saying yes for 18 years, man. I just want a respectable defense at this point. I don't want no bottom 5 in the league. I don't want no bottom 10 in the league anymore. I'm hoping 15 can happen, and I'm hoping Gus Bradley can get the most out of our players because you can see the talent is there. It is there. Last season with Paul Gunther, that was an absolute nightmare. When a crazy year with COVID and with a young team, did not work out so well. All I'm saying is this. I don't even want to jinx it. I'm just hoping, fingers crossed. If y'all agree with me, I think we can all get on the same boat. We want a top 15 defense. Let me know. Will the Raiders have a top 15 defense? Why for yes and for no? All right, Eric, appreciate the super, my man. Do you think John has a plan, or is he just here for the money? I don't think he's just here for the money. Obviously, 10 years, $100 million makes it a little bit easier to go to work every single day. My biggest problem with John Gruden is this. He's too stuck in his ways. He's too afraid to adapt to the new league. That's the biggest issue. Gruden is a little bit too cocky for me, and he's a little bit too arrogant. I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but in order to adapt, in order to be successful, you need to be able to change. From what I've seen so far, Gruden has not been able to change. Rogers the Iceman Smith Jr., is Hurst being pushed further down the depth chart? Yes, he is, and it's actually a player that I've said before could actually ultimately get cut this year. Less snaps every single year over the last 4 years. Played only 27% of the snaps last season. One of the OGs here. What up, Sean Forbes? Hey, Mitch. What do you think about the Raiders trading back at a 17 and pick up some more picks? Hope all is well. Love you, dude. Love you too, Sean. Yeah, I'm 100% on board. I don't want to get fleeced. Like, I'm not just trying to trade back just to trade back. If there's a good move up there where the Raiders can make, like if the Titans want to trade up, if a team like Baltimore wants to trade up, I mean, if you're going to trade up, though, or if a team's going to trade up for the Raiders pick, I want, obviously, that first-round pick. I want a second-round pick, and then I want either, like, another fifth or sixth rounder in terms of, like, how far that team's going up and getting a pick. But, yeah, if you're telling me I get two guys like a Tevin Jenkins and a Merrick, or I could only get one of those players, I'm 100% on board for that. Let's go to NFL News Channel 01. Love the pick, as always. Hey, Mitch, what do you think about the lineup will be post-free agency? I mean, if you want me to try to predict the entire lineup on today's show, that's going to be a difficult thing to do. I will say this, though. Starting wide receivers, the top three, they're going to be John Brown, Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow. The defensive line, the front four, is going to be Yannick Ngakoue. I think it's going to be split between Mo and Cleveland Ferrell at DT, also Jonathan Hankins, and then Max Crosby. And in terms of some of the other positions, still going to be a wait-and-see thing, hoping some other moves come down. I will promise you, though, I will make a video about the starting roster for the Raiders going into 2021. I do it every single year. JT Douglas, big-time super, $10. Much love to you, dude. Love what you do, man. 1 year prove-it deals suck when they do prove it, and then they're going to go for more money somewhere else. Solution, 2 year prove-it deals. That locks them in an additional year if they ball out. So I think you're kind of thinking about what Yannick Ngakoue did, and I actually think what Yannick did is a very smart move for him. The issue is it's not always just like a this is what you got type of deal. Players wanted to do a 1 year prove-it deal because of the lower cap situation. Now, for Yannick, on that other hand, he's like, all right, I'm willing to take a lot of guaranteed money, and then I'll be a little bit less here. And then really when you think about it going forward, a 2 year deal for somebody like Yannick makes sense. A 1 year deal, though, for a guy like Solomon Thomas or Quentin Jefferson, that makes a little bit more sense for them. All right, Dale Webb, Eric Fisher and Brian Poole. I can't get on board with Eric Fisher because I don't know if he's 100% healthy. Brian Poole, 100% for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Kenny Rader, what up, my dude? How about Eric Fisher? Guys, he's not healthy, and I don't think he's playing this year. KJ Wright or Mitchell Schwartz. If Schwartz is healthy, he's a great right tackle option, but he played in only 6 games last year, and anytime you're dealing with a back injury, it scares the hell out of me. KJ Wright, I would love KJ Wright, 31-year-old, one of the best linebackers in the game. However, I don't really see the Raiders going out and getting KJ Wright. So, as much out of all the players who I think is the most realistic, I might actually say Mitchell Schwartz.